Hello and welcome to this PHP tutorial by phpgameengine.com. Today we'll just be covering the basics of PHP in this tutorial. PHP is an open source and free language, meaning you should never have to pay to download it, and it's also a competitor to Microsoft's ASP web language. PHP is also a server-side language. Unlike HTML and CSS, server-side languages are rendered before the browser ever gets to see it. PHP is also able to communicate with a variety of different databases which can store information for retrieval later on. All coding will be done locally on my computer, and we are using XAMPP as our web development server. XAMPP is a free download, and you'll find a link to our tutorial on how to install and make sure everything is working fine in the information area. So let's go on to the basics right now. I'm going to be using TextMate as my editor. You can use Notepad, TextPad, anything, open source editors. You might want to look for something with syntax highlighting, as it makes it a little easier for you to use. Just like HTML elements, PHP has an opening and closing tag. It is the lesson sign, question mark, PHP, and then close it, and the closing sign is question mark, greater than sign. I'm going to go ahead and save this. Replace it. Alrighty. Now notice that I saved it as index.php. Index will always be brought up first before any other file. And then also .php, so the server knows that PHP is going to be used. You can still use HTML outside of these blocks, which is what I want to talk to you about next. Anything in between these two tags will be rendered as PHP, so if you put any HTML or plain text in there before you code it with like an echo or a string, then it's going to throw an error and it might not render your web page correctly. Any PHP outside of these blocks won't be rendered either, and it'll just be shown as regular text on your browser. The first thing that we're going to look at is PHP comments. When you're developing a website or a web script, you should comment your code heavily so any other coder or you can reference back to it later. So there's two types of comments that we have. It's a single line, which is just a double forward slash, and then we have our multi-line comments, which is a forward slash asterisk, and then we'll just put a multi-line in here. And we close that out by putting an asterisk forward slash. Alright, something about this is that comments won't be rendered, and you won't be able to view them on the source or on the page itself. Nobody will be able to see your comments, so you can put information like what's going on here, or how you're hashing a password or something like that, and other people won't be able to see it. Alright, so let's take a look at that just to show that it does work fine. We'll go to localhost, and as you see in the view source, sorry guys, stuttering there a little bit. View source, there's nothing in there because we don't have anything yet. Alrighty. Put my syntax highlighting on there for a second. Alrighty, the next thing we're going to look at is variables. Variables is a way to store information, and it's usually the dynamic information like names, numbers, and arrays. A variable is signaled by a $sign, and then the variable's name. There's three rules you have to remember about variables. The first one is that each one must start with a character or an underscore. The second one is it's alphanumeric or underscore. You're not allowed to have special characters like an exclamation mark or quote or anything like that. And also, it must not contain a space. Now, if you want to separate your words, there's two ways to do it. The first one is something like my underscore variable. And then the second one would be something called Camelback, and it's where you capitalize each word in the variable. In this case, it's going to be the M and the V for my variable. Alrighty, so let's start using a variable. Let's create two of them. One called myText, and then we'll make it say this is my variable. Alright, let's take a look at that for a minute. You see that there's double quotes here. When you enter a string, and the string is like text that's going to be rendered for the user to see, you must wrap it in quotes. And then you also see the semicolon at the end. That signifies the end of a output statement or a statement in PHP. And let's make another one called my num equals 3. Alrighty, you can either wrap a number in quotes or you don't. It doesn't matter. It's your preference on that one. But once again, you do have to have that semicolon at the end. Alrighty. Say you want to output some text to the users or render it out for them. We can use the echo statement. It's just a command that displays the content to the user. Stay inside the PHP brackets. And it's basically echo and then whatever you want. You can either do a string and say this is a string. Let's try that out real fast. And there you go right there. Or we can do a variable and just echo my text out. That's what we're going to stay with. And then this is my variable. And let's make this sentence. Now we're updating this. We're updating the variable, so it's going to update this sentence also. And there you go. This is my variable sentence. Alright, so say you want to combine my text and my number together, but you don't want to rewrite any of the information because maybe it changes a lot. Maybe it's a name or something. So let's try that out. Let's create a name real fast. My name will be C. Huffman, and my num will be 23. Alright, so say we want to say my name is C. Huffman, and my favorite number is 23. How we would do that? We would do it with concatenation, and it's basically combining information using periods. So let's echo that out. Echo. We'll make a string that says my name is, put a semicolon, space, put a period to concatenate it, and then put the variable, my name, put another period, another string that says, and my favorite number is, and then we'll put the my num. Now let's put a line break at the end, and not a single quote but a double. And let's also take that line break and concatenate up here with my text. That way it'll separate them. Now you can see that HTML is still parsed inside of an echo statement, and I'll show you that we can do something like a strong, which bolds the information of my name. Alrighty, and it's taking it off the screen there. But let's go ahead and try that out. Now, this should make the sentence with a bolded name, or give us that. Alright, let's take a moment and look at this. Unexpected T variable in 17. Wish I had my line commenting on. Alright, line 17 is right here. And what we did, we forgot to put a semicolon there. And see, it stopped it from rendering the web page. That's for your own safety on sensitive information like a password or connection. You don't want any of that to be still processed as regular text or however it would process it. Alright, there we go. That's what we were looking for. My name is C. Huffman and my favorite number is 23. Alright. Now the last thing what we're going to look at is operations, PHP operation. It's basic math basically. You have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and then you can do some comparisons in it also. So let's give that a look. Let's create a variable called add and make that 2 plus 2, and then let's just echo that add out. Or let's put a line break in there first and then echo it out. Alright, there we go. The number is 4. Alright, let's do some division. Let's take whatever the number add is, divide it by 2, and put a BR on that one, and echo out div. And we get 2. Now we're not going to make another variable, we're just going to echo out whatever div is, and multiply that by 10. And let's go ahead and put a line break in the beginning. And this should say 20. Alright, so that works perfect. Now, the whole reason for variables is, like I said, dynamic information. You wouldn't want to go update each one of these each time you change something. So let's give an example. Say we change add to 5 plus 2. That's going to make 7. Now that's going to change everything else. Div will now become 3.5, and then this new echo statement down here will become 35. Let's give it a shot at that. And there you go. Now that's the very basics of PHP. You still have different functions and if-else statements, switches, and cases. We'll take a look at that as we get into more tutorials as we run along with that. You can take the time to go PHP Game Engine. We'll have our tutorials posted weekly up there on building your very own PHP game. Until then, thank you.